The stars looked cold and distant through the main viewing window of the Guardian. Captain James Walker stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his crisp blue uniform unwrinkled despite being 18 hours into his shift. Around him, the ship hummed, a quiet affirmation of power and readiness. The Guardian was the newest and most advanced vessel in the United Earth Defense Fleet. Yet even it, with all its cutting-edge systems, adhered to the Starship principle. "Captain, incoming message from Outpost Sigma," called Lieutenant Anna Miller from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over her console, her face lit by the blue glow of its displays. Walker nodded. "Put it through." The main screen flickered to life, revealing the exhausted face of Commander Ray Wilson. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Captain Walker," Wilson said, voice tight. "We've lost contact with Weber Colony." Walker frowned. "Technical difficulties?" That's what I thought, at first. But this makes 3 colonies in the past month. First Hawkins, then New Denver, now Weber. No distress calls, no signs of attack. They just went silent. The bridge grew still. 3 colonies couldn't be coincidence. "Have you reported this to the Galactic Council?" Walker asked. Wilson nodded. Their response was unhelpful. They suggested we check our communication equipment. Walker's jaw tightened. The Council had a habit of dismissing human concerns. Many of the older spacefaring civilizations still saw humanity as newcomers, even after 2 centuries among the stars. "Send me all the data you have," Walker said. "We'll investigate." After the transmission ended, Miller approached. "Sir, the Council should be taking this more seriously." "They follow protocol, Lieutenant, and their protocol says 3 missing colonies isn't enough to raise alarms, yet." Walker turned to her. "Plot a course to Weber Colony. Let's see it for ourselves." The Guardian dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Weber system. The colony's planet, a peaceful blue-green world, hung in the distance. Scans show the infrastructure is intact, reported Officer Tom Bell from the science station. "Power signatures are normal, but I'm not detecting any movement on the surface." "No ships in orbit or at the docking platforms," added Miller. "It's like everyone just left." Walker studied the tranquil-looking world. 10,000 colonists couldn't just disappear. Any sign of the local defense ships?" "Nothing, sir," Miller replied. "Wait. Detecting debris in high orbit, possibly from the Weber defense vessel." Walker ordered a shuttle team to investigate the colony. Though he wanted to go himself, he knew his place was on the bridge. 8 hours later, the team returned with disturbing news. "The colony is empty, sir," reported Security Chief Mark Davis. "No bodies, no signs of struggle. The buildings are intact. Food left on tables. It's like they vanished in the middle of daily life." A chill ran down Walker's spine. "And the data cores?" he asked. "Wiped clean," Davis said. "Whoever did this didn't want to leave clues." That night, Walker couldn't sleep. He wandered the Guardian's silent corridors, haunted by the thought of 10,000 missing people. The Starship principle had kept galactic peace for centuries. All vessels, regardless of size or allegiance, were limited in their weapon systems. No civilization could gain dominance overnight. Diplomacy always had a chance to work. But if someone was breaking that rule, his communicator beeped. "Sir, I think I found something," came Miller's voice. "Can you come to the data lab?" Walker found her surrounded by holographic displays, her expression tense. I ran deeper scans on Weber Colony's communication logs. Most were erased, but I recovered fragments of an encrypted transmission. Sent just before they went dark. She brought up a display showing distorted lines of code. It took work, but I got part of the message. Static filled the room, then a voice, tight with fear, broke through. "Not responding to hails. The ship doesn't match any known design. Weapons beyond anything." More static, then clear and unmistakable. "They aren't following the rules anymore." Walker felt his blood run cold. Can you clean it up? Get more? He asked. Miller shook her head. This is all that survived, but what rules was he talking about? Walker answered softly. The only ones that matter between civilizations. The Starship principle. The next morning, Walker gathered his senior officers in the Guardian's conference room, a space lined with real wood, a luxury in deep space. Evidence suggests someone attacked 3 human colonies using technology that violates the Starship principle, Walker said. If true, this threatens not just Earth, but galactic peace itself. Chief Engineer Robert Green looked skeptical. That's a bold claim, Captain. The principle has held for 400 years. Walker nodded. And it only takes one to break it. Should we inform Earth Command? Miller asked. I've sent a full report, Walker replied. But without proof, they won't act. As if on cue, his communicator buzzed. Admiral Thomas Reed appeared via hologram, his face grim. I've reviewed your report, Reed said. Concerning, but not enough to make accusations. You're authorized to investigate, quietly. We can't risk panic or appearing paranoid. After the call, Miller lingered. Walker saw the look on her face. There's something else. Yes, sir. I dug into historical records. 3 similar disappearances occurred over the last century, always along the borders of known space. Each time, the Council investigated. Each time, nothing was found. It was written off. Equipment failure, colonists abandoning their posts. You think they're connected? Walker asked. Miller nodded. And I think someone's been covering it up. Walker turned to the stars. The galaxy had been at peace under the Starship principle. But what if that peace was built on lies? Set. Course for the border of Sector 12. There's an old monitoring station nearby. It might have recorded ships near Weber Colony. The old station floated silently, a forgotten relic on the edge of human space. Its sensors still functioned, silently logging every passing ship. The Guardian approached slowly, running silent. Any signs of other vessels? Walker asked. None, sir, replied Miller. Bell accessed the station's logs. The data goes. Back 3 months. Walker leaned over his shoulder. Look for anything near the time Weber went silent. Minutes passed. There, Bell said. 6 days ago, a ship passed through, heading toward Weber. It doesn't match any known design. A blurry image appeared. Long and sleek with strange bulges that might be weapons. Enhance it, Walker ordered. This is the best I can do, Bell said. But I found something else. The ship's energy output is triple what's possible under the principle. Walker's stomach turned. Any markings? Miller leaned in. There, on the hull. That symbol, it's Thar Collective. Walker blinked. The Thar helped write the principle. They're one of the oldest peaceful races. Maybe they're not so peaceful anymore, said Davis. Let's not jump to conclusions, Walker cautioned. Set course for the Thar border. Maybe we can... Captain, Miller interrupted. Distress signal. Weak but real. Coming from just outside this system. Put it through. Require immediate assistance. We are a Thar science. Vessel under attack. Unknown. Static. Weapons, unlike anything. Help us. Walker didn't hesitate. Set course. Maximum speed. Prepare for possible combat. They dropped out of FTL into chaos. A Thar vessel drifted, torn apart. Metal debris filled the void like frozen snow. The ship's main hull remained intact but unlit. Life signs? Walker asked. None, Bell said. But the core's stable. We could board. Prepare a team. I'm going. Sir, protocol says the captain, Miller began. I know what it says, but I need to see this for myself. Inside, the Thar vessel was dead. Walker's flashlight swept across empty corridors. The Thar breathed the same air mix as us, he explained. Why we've always gotten along. They reached the bridge. Empty. But the computers still worked. Try to access their logs, Walker ordered. Tech Officer Lisa Jones worked quickly. Final log entry found. It's Disturbing. A Thar face appeared, eyes wide, skin pale. This will be our final record. The ship that attacked us bore our markings, but it was not ours. The weapons, it should not exist, not under the principle. We tried to communicate, they opened fire without warning. We detected modifications beyond legality. If anyone finds this, warn the council. Something terrible is happening. The recording ended. Walker stared, cold despite his suit's warmth. They searched the ship and found something worse. Weapons. Thar weapons, but not standard, not legal. These aren't Thar designs, Davis said. They're beyond anything I've seen. Walker lifted one, lightweight, warm to the touch. They were arming themselves, he whispered, despite the principle. Back aboard, an emergency call from Earth came through. Admiral Reed's face filled the screen. The situation has escalated. 7 civilizations have now reported missing colonies. The Council has called an emergency summit. Walker shared what they'd found. This confirms our worst fears, Reed said. Someone is violating the principle on a massive scale. Return to Earth. The Council arrives in 48 hours. In his quarters, Walker stared at the stars. The principle had kept peace by limiting power. Now someone was ignoring it. Miller entered, holding a data pad. Sir, I analyzed the weapon. It contains tech from multiple species, Thar, human, and at least 3 others. Whoever built it has access across the galaxy. Not one rogue faction, then, Walker said. This is bigger. Yes. And one more thing. In the Thar logs, I found a name, something called the Vanguard. Before Walker could answer, alarms blared. Captain to the BR. Walker, the situation is critical, Reed said, his voice steady despite the obvious strain. The enemy fleet consists of 23 ships of unknown design. They've already destroyed 3 of our orbital platforms. What about evacuation? It's underway, but there's not enough time to get everyone off planet. Reed's expression hardened. I've made a decision, Walker. I'm activating Protocol Prometheus. Walker felt his breath catch. Protocol Prometheus was a last resort measure. Something, discussed only in the most classified briefings. Sir, are you sure? Walker asked. Once we cross that line, the line has already been crossed, Reed interrupted. The Starship principle is dead. We need to accept that reality and respond accordingly. He looked directly at the camera. Your ship has hidden capabilities, Captain. It's time to use them. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Captain. Miller, Walker said quietly. What is Protocol Prometheus? Walker stood up. Lieutenant Miller, Chief Engineer Green, come with me. The rest of you continue on course for Earth. Deep in the Guardian's engineering section, Walker led Miller and Green to a sealed door marked Maintenance Access Only. He placed his hand on a scanner hidden behind a panel. Captain James Walker, authorization code Prometheus Alpha 97. The door slid open, revealing a room that shouldn't exist. Inside was a secondary control center filled with equipment neither Miller nor Green had ever seen before. What is this place? Green asked, his eyes wide. The truth, Walker said simply. For the past 100 years, Earth has been preparing for the day when the Starship principle might fail. Every ship in our fleet has a secret section like this one containing systems that go far beyond what the principle allows. He moved to a control panel and entered a series of commands. Throughout the ship, hidden compartments began to open, revealing weapons and technology that had been concealed even from the crew. We never wanted to use these, Walker continued. The principle kept the peace. But now that others have broken we have no choice. Green ran his hand over one of the newly revealed control panels. These power readings, they're impossible. Not impossible, Walker corrected him, just forbidden until now. Miller looked at her captain with new eyes. You knew about this all along? Only ship captains and the highest levels of Earth Command are briefed on Prometheus. Walker met her gaze. I didn't like keeping secrets from my crew, but it was necessary. A notification beeped on the main console. Walker checked it and nodded grimly. It's happening across the fleet. Every Earth ship is activating their hidden systems. He turned to Green, chief engineer. I need you to integrate these new systems with our main controls. We have 3 hours to learn how to use weapons no human has ever fired in combat. The battle over Earth was visible from millions of miles away. Flashes of light marked the destruction of ships and defense platforms. The unknown fleet, the Vanguard, as they now knew, had pushed past the outer defenses and was approaching Earth orbit. The Guardian dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system, joining 5 other human warships that had responded to the distress call. Status. Report! Walker ordered as they approached the battle. 17 enemy ships still active, Bell reported. Earth's orbital defenses are at 30% capacity. Civilian evacuation is ongoing but slow. Walker opened a channel to the other human ships. This is Captain Walker of the Guardian. Protocol Prometheus is active. All ships, prepare to engage with full capabilities. On the main view screen, Walker could see the enemy fleet. The ships were sleek and powerful, unlike any known design. They moved with precision, targeting Earth's defenses methodically. They're well-trained, Miller observed, fighting as a unit. Walker nodded. Target the lead vessel. Let's show them what humanity has been hiding. The Guardian surged forward, its newly revealed weapons powering up. Energy readings spiked to levels that would have been impossible under the Starship principle. Weapons locked, Davis reported from. Tactical. Ready to fire. Walker took a deep breath. This was the moment when humanity would reveal its true strength and break the principle they had publicly upheld for centuries. Fire. The Guardian released a beam of energy so bright it was hard to look at. It struck the lead enemy vessel, cutting through its shields like they weren't there. The ship broke apart in a silent explosion. The other human ships followed suit, unleashing weapons that had been kept secret for generations. The enemy fleet, caught by surprise, began to scatter. They didn't expect this, Miller said, watching the battle unfold. They thought we were following the principle. This is just the beginning, Walker replied. Target their command ship next. The battle turned quickly. The enemy fleet, facing weapons they hadn't prepared for, began a fighting retreat. Within an hour, they had withdrawn from Earth orbit, jumping to faster-than-light speed with the human fleet in pursuit. As the Guardian followed, Admiral Reed contacted them again. Good work, Walker, he said. But this isn't over. The Vanguard has attacked 3 other worlds in the past hour. This was coordinated. What are our orders? Track that fleet. Find out where they're going and who they really are. Reed's face was grim. Meanwhile, I'll be at the emergency council meeting explaining why Earth just revealed weapons technology we swore we didn't have. After the call ended, Walker stood in silence for a moment. The crew watched him, waiting. The galaxy changed today, he finally said. For centuries, every civilized world followed the Starship principle. We limited our weapons, our defenses, our technology, all to maintain peace. He looked around at his crew. That era is over now. We need to be ready for what comes next. Miller stepped closer. Sir, if we had these weapons all along, why didn't we use them to protect our colonies? Because once we revealed them, there was no going back, Walker answered. Earth Command hoped to find another solution. They waited too long. Captain Bell called out, I'm tracking the enemy fleet. They appear to be heading toward the outer rim, beyond Council space. Walker nodded. Follow them. Keep your distance, but don't lose them. He turned to Miller, Lieutenant. I want everything we have on the Vanguard. Someone in the galaxy must know who they are. As the Guardian pursued the retreating fleet, Walker wondered what other secrets would be revealed in the coming days. If Earth had hidden such power, what might other civilizations have concealed? The age of trust was over. The age of power had begun. For 3 days, the Guardian followed the trail of the Vanguard fleet. They kept their distance, using the ship's enhanced sensors to track the enemy without being detected. The crew worked in shifts, staying alert for any sign of an ambush. Captain Walker spent most of his time on the bridge, sleeping only when Miller insisted. Dark circles formed under his eyes as he studied the path the enemy was taking. "They're heading toward the location of one of our missing colonies," Walker said, pointing to a star map. "New Denver." Miller leaned over his shoulder, looking at the display. "Do you think that's their base?" "Maybe. Or maybe they're going back to wherever they took the colonists." Walker rubbed his tired eyes. "Either way, we need to know what we're facing." The ship's comm system beeped with an incoming message. It was Admiral Reed, looking even more exhausted than Walker. "The council meeting was difficult," Reed said without preamble. "Several civilizations have accused Earth of violating the Starship principle. Others have admitted they also had secret weapons programs." "The principle was already dead," Walker replied. "We just confirmed it." Reed nodded grimly. "The council is in chaos, but we formed an alliance with the Thar Collective and 3 other major civilizations. They're sending ships to support your mission." He leaned closer to the camera. "Find out what happened to those colonists, Walker, and find out why the Vanguard is doing this." New Denver had been a thriving colony on a rich green world now as the Guardian approached from behind. One of the planet's moons, they could see something massive being built on the surface. "It looks like some kind of installation," Bell said, examining the sensor readings. "Definitely not part of the original colony. It covers nearly 100 square miles. Walker studied the images on them. "Ainscreen, are there any people down there?" "Yes, sir. Several thousand life signs. But they're concentrated in specific areas, and there are strange energy readings throughout the facility. 4 ships from their new alliance had joined the Guardian, 1 Thar vessel 2 from the Holan Republic, and 1 from the old Varn Empire. Together they formed a small but powerful strike force. We need to get closer." Walker decided, "Prepare a stealth shuttle. I'll lead Asmal Team 2. The surface Miller immediately stood up. "I'm going with you, Sire Walker." Nodded, he had expected nothing less. The shuttle landed in a forested Area 3 Mi from the massive installation. Walker led a team of 6, including Miller and Davis, through the thick undergrowth. The air was clean, but carried an odd metallic smell. As they approached the edge of the forest, they got their first clear view of what the Vanguard was building. It was an enormous structure with towers reaching toward the sky and deep sections that disappeared underground. Energy fields shimmered around parts of it. "It almost looks like a defensive position," Davis said quietly, "like they're preparing for an attack." "But from what?" Walker wondered. They moved closer using scanner technology that had been hidden under the Starship principle. It allowed them to detect the movement of guards and security systems without being found there. Miller whispered, pointing to an area where people were working. "Those are humans. And are those Thar?" Through binoculars, Walker could see colonists from different species working together. They moved without speaking, their faces blank as they carried materials and operated machinery. "Something's controlling them," Walker said. "We need to get inside." They found an entry point at a loading area where supplies were being brought in using stealth technology built into their armor. Another violation of the principle, they slipped past the guards and into the massive structure. Inside, the air was colder. The walls were made of a material Walker had never seen before, with strange symbols etched into them. They moved silently through corridors that seemed designed for beings of various sizes. Captain Miller whispered, checking her scanner. "I'm picking up a high concentration of life signs 1 level down. It could be more colonists." They found a way down and entered what appeared to be a large control room. Inside, people from at least 5 different species worked at stations. Their movements were mechanical, their eyes unfocused. They've been mind-controlled somehow, Davis said, scanning one of the workers. Their brain patterns are all wrong. Walker noticed a separate room beyond the control center. Through its transparent walls, he could see a single figure standing at a large display. The figure was human. "Wait here," Walker ordered. "If something goes wrong, get back to the ship and warn." The others using his stealth field. Walker approached the room. The door was unlocked. He stepped inside weapon ready and deactivated his stealth field. "That's far enough," the figure said without turning around. "I was wondering when Earth would find us." The man turned. Slowly, he was tall and lean with gray at his temples and a face that looked vaguely familiar. "Commander Alex Gray," the man said, introducing himself. "Though I suspect Earth has listed me as dead by now." Walker kept his weapon aimed at Gray's chest. "You were on the deep space mission to Sector 19. Your ship was reported lost 10 years ago." Gray smiled without humor. "Not lost, enlightened. I found something out there, Captain. Something that changed everything." "And what was that?" Walker asked, keeping his distance. "The truth that the galaxy is in danger and the Starship principal was going to get us all killed." Gray gestured to the display behind him. "Would you like to see, against his better judgment, Walker?" Moved closer. The display showed what looked like astronomical data. The movement of stars and galaxies over vast periods of time every 50,000 years, Gray explained. "Something enters our galaxy from the void between galaxies. The ancient records call it the Devourer. It consumes civilizations' entire worlds and then retreats back into the darkness." He pointed to a pattern in the data. "It's due to return within the century." Walker studied the display. "And you believe this? I've seen the evidence, the ruins of dead civilizations that once spanned hundreds of worlds, all destroyed at the same time. Their final messages all speak of the same thing, a force they couldn't fight because they weren't prepared. So you decided to prepare," Walker said, understanding dawning. "That's what this installation is." For Gray nodded, "one of many we're building. Across the galaxy, defense systems on a scale never before imagined, weapons that could potentially stop even something like the Devourer by kidnapping colonists, mind-controlling them, regrettable but necessary." Gray said without remorse. "We needed workers, and we needed secrecy. The Council would never have approved what we're doing, and attacking Earth, how was that necessary? A test." Gray replied, "We needed to see how Earth would respond. What hidden capabilities you had. You didn't disappoint." Walker felt his anger rising. "You killed innocent people to test us to save billions more." Gray's eyes hardened. "The Starship principle kept us weak, Captain. It prevented us from developing the weapons we'll need when the Devourer returns. My vanguard is doing what no one else had the courage to do: break the rules to save everyone." Walker kept his weapons steady. "And who put you in charge of saving the galaxy?" "Someone had to make the hard choices." Gray moved toward a control panel. "You can either help us or stay out of our way. But you can't stop what's coming." Before Walker could respond, an alarm blared throughout the facility. Gray smiled. "It seems your friends have been discovered. The choice is yours. Captain, join us and help save the galaxy or die here with your principles intact." Walker looked at the man who had once been a respected Earth officer. "There's always another way, Gray one, that doesn't involve becoming monsters ourselves." Gray's expression hardened. "That's your answer, then?" "So be it." He pressed a button and energy fields sprang up around the room, trapping Walker inside. Through the transparent wall, he could see his team being surrounded by armed guards. The galaxy's future hung in the balance, with two human visions of survival now locked in conflict. The energy field around Walker hummed with power through the transparent wall. He could see Miller and the others being surrounded by guards with weapons drawn. Gray watched him with cold eyes. "Your team will be put to work with the other colonists," Gray said. "Their skills will be useful." Walker's mind raced. "You're making a mistake, Gray. Ruling through fear and control, that's not the way to save the galaxy." Gray merely smiled. We'll continue this discussion later when you've had time to reconsider my offer, as Gray turned to leave. The entire facility shook. Alarms blared even louder than before. What was that? Gray demanded, rushing to a console. One of the mind-controlled workers spoke in a flat voice. Allied fleet is attacking the orbital defenses. Multiple ships detected. Gray's face darkened. Launch our ships, defend the installation at all costs outside the energy field. Walker saw Davis make a quick movement. A small device slid across the floor, stopping at the base of the field generator. No one else seemed to. Notice Walker met Davis's eyes briefly, then turned back to Gray. You can't win this fight, Commander. Note against the combined forces of 5 civilizations. We don't need to win. Gray replied, his fingers moving over the console. We just need to hold. You off long enough to activate our network. Once all our installations are linked together, nobody will be able to stop us. The small device at the base of the field generator blinked once, then twice. Walker tensed. Ready to move. The explosion was small but precise. The energy field flickered and died in the same moment. Davis and Miller drew hidden weapons and fired at the guards. Their shots precise and non-lethal. Walker lunged toward Gray, tackling him. Before he could reach for a weapon, they crashed to the floor, Gray fighting with a strength born of desperation. "You're dooming us all!" Gray shouted as they struggled. Walker pinned him down. "There's always another way, Gray, always!" With Gray subdued and the guards neutralized Walker, and his team took control of the command center through the large windows, they could see the battle raging in orbit. The Allied fleet was engaging the Vanguard ships in a display of firepower that would have been impossible under the Starship principle. "We need to free the colonists," Walker ordered. "Find the control system that's keeping them under Vanguard." Control, Miller and Davis searched the command center, while Walker kept Gray secured above them. The battle continued to rage here. Miller called. After several tense minutes, "This seems to be the central neural control system, but it's complex. I'm not sure how to shut it down without hurting the colonists." Walker turned to Gray. "Tell us how to free them." Gray laughed bitterly, and undo years of work. "Never then, we'll figure it out, ourselves." Walker said. He activated his comm. "This is Captain Walker to Allied Fleet. We've secured the main command center of the Vanguard installation. We need technical specialists to help free the mind-controlled." Workers, as they waited for support, Walker forced Gray to show them the evidence he'd found, the records of ancient civilizations and the coming threat he called